Hello, hello, and welcome to Password. Well, I guess welcome back to Password is what I meant to say. You know how it is. Ah, we're just gonna continue Dean's route. Yeah, you know, I'm not the biggest fan of Dean anymore. I thought I was going to really like him, but that's why I jumped ship to Tyson's route and fell in love with him instead. It's fine though. As I stay staring at the ceiling though, something was prodding me somewhere in the back of my mind. Nothing had happened today, but something was urging me to do something. I sat up and looked around, checked my phone, wondering if I'd forgotten something. Let them die. I was getting sick of that voice in my head, telling me that should just let my friends die. But then it occurred to me that there was something in this very house that could help me. Something that, as far as I knew was the only lifeline I had. The vault. But looking around again, I wondered if someone was watching me, or if someone had done something to make me think of it, but the question still lingered in my mind. Should I go? I thought about it and wondered, probably after me paying the Bolt a visit, yep. Not only that, but I was going to be meeting up with Oswin. The topic might come up. Creeping out of the room, I wandered downstairs. I could hear other people in the house. Happy voices that seemed to be interacting nicely with one another. I couldn't tell who it was, but I continued to the downstairs. By comparison, the basement was cold, dark, quiet. I flicked on the lights and wandered over to one of the rooms I was interested in. That wasn't to say I didn't look around to the other doors. What had happened this morning was something I was curious of. And there it was, standing before me. I sighed out, stepping closer and reaching out. The moment my fingers brushed the input panel, I closed my eyes, waiting. Is there a password for this day? Didn't I do Massacre? Okay. Yeah, I guess I'm supposed to fail that. Before I backed away, edging my back against until I sat. Edging my hand back until I sat in my pocket. Okay. Nothing. Which was good thing, right? Wandering back upstairs, wondering if coming down was a good idea after all. When I got back up to my room, I splashed my face and let my mind wander. Oh, this is the rattle. Oh God, what was his voice? What did I do? I remember it really hurt my throat, but but it was worth it. I can't remember off the top of my head. What? Right about one thing, my master and his sister got this up and running. Your I like that scene. It's a lot of fun. I'm single. Too, but well, there's Dean. I wondered where things really stood between us. Had I made things weird today? He seemed to take it well, but now I wasn't sure. No. Yeah. Man, this was long, wasn't it? Oh, okay. Dean brought up his ex, and I felt betrayed a little. He should have told me sooner, but at the same time, it wasn't my place to ask. I just assumed that he knew better. But he was just as new to this as I was. Maybe he was just scared. There's something I can relate, at least. I found myself in the kitchen, just as empty as the rest of the house. It was a cruel reminder of what was to come after this vacation. Everyone leaving, shy of Dean or Tyson, maybe. For who knows how long. I think I'm a bad boyfriend.
What?
I mean, potential boyfriend. I talked to Dean and, he told me about his ex, but that just made me sad. Just made him sad.
This is the first I've heard about it.
Yeah, I thought that maybe he'd know what... I thought maybe he'd know you were meant to do, but I think he's just trying his best when I'm just sitting here pitying myself.
Maybe. But how bad are we talking?
About his ex? Well, maybe enough that I found out why he kept insisting that all our dates didn't count.
Even so, I didn't get the impression that, he's trying... I get the impression he's trying his best, right? He occasionally comes across as, completely tactless, but he's trying at least.
Yeah. Even though Dean was hurting, he was still trying, so why wasn't that coming as easily to me? Roswell pulling out his phone, placing it on the table.
I'm not sure if this would help, but, can I try?
Sure. He turns on his phone and flicks through some photos before settling on one and leaving his phone in clear view of the table. Haas, Orlando, Roswell, and I were all dressed up in costumes for a thing Haas put together. We were all smiling. Oh, okay, yeah, I can... Oh, yeah, that cute scene where, Sal was like, yeah, no, it's fine. Are you alright? And Dean was looking at me, concerned that he didn't seem happy, almost as if he was just going through the motions. I'm alright. He nodded slowly, looking to Haas. Dean scratched his chin. He looked me over, eyes raising an eyebrow. We'd been out yesterday for most of the day, but it wasn't like that. Alright. I half expected him to offer some company, given we were surrounded by woodland, but no such invitation came. Okay, oh, this is when he just goes to the driveway. Yeah, okay. I really like Dean. Liked. Ooh, past tense, I see. If I knew what it was like to love someone, I'd feel more confident saying that I did. It was a different feeling than any of my other friends, not in a bad way, but just different. Was this what love was? The romantic sort of love you have for someone that you end up marrying someday? The thought of me smirking for a moment before remembering what had happened yesterday. Dean's ex, how did it cause his sleep problems? How he seemed to think about it every day. Hearing him explain what had happened made me feel closer to him, but even further apart. I liked it when we went out to get food or to go and see something. It was almost like hanging out with a friend, but I assumed that because he'd asked me out. I think we owe each other apologies, Dean. Shaking my head, I continued down the driveway as I thought. Had we been leading each other on? Were we both even ready to date someone? What I wanted now, more than anything, was to just talk to Dean and figure out where things stand between us. Oh yeah, the others went out and did things right, so... And, yeah, I flashed Dean a wry smile, so used to him calling me handsome that him saying my name felt foreign to me. Benson told me you all went out. Into the woods, maybe? Yeah. Oh, okay, so this is when Oswin reveals himself. And, oh, okay, this whole scene. Oh, yeah! That was fun. Dean fidgeted a little, looking across to Tyson as if waiting for him to start talking. And when he didn't, he nudges me with an elbow. What? I thought you were going to ask. Fuck off! You were the one who was worried. I blinked, frowning. What do you mean? Oh, okay, that scene, yeah. Well, you'll get there, Dean. Help him out. Carefully, Dean reached out for my hand, taking them carefully in his as he rubbed the back of them with his thumbs. I'm sorry, Dave. He squeezed my hand briefly, flashing me a quick smile before easing away. He scratched his chest, thinking something over. It almost looked like he was about to say something more, but whatever it was, he decided against it. Even after yesterday? What happened yesterday? I, told Dave about my last relationship. The fuck? How was that going to help? Hey, I need to talk about that stuff. What if we're going to be together? Well, he needs to know. I'm sorry, Dean. For what? For, asking about anything. No, it's alright. You needed to know eventually. I'm sorry I kept it from you for so long. Can you just kiss and make up already? Neither of us moved, although we seemed to fidget together, looking away from the others. Ty sighs, scratching his head. Why can't Tyson hold my hand? Oh, okay. Me? Oh, right. I just wanted to check in on how you were doing. You weren't at dinner. You're likely hungry, and then there's the other boar. Oswin? Oh, is that the cereal conversation? I hope it is. I really like that scene. It's funny. What? I thought... and with the dog thing... Oh... Yeah, so they're teasing, yeah. He's your friend. You should know what he's like. I forced it on him and made him accept it. But how? That's a secret. He was an annoying asshole mostly, but it's fine. I can take it like a man. I have a good enough incentive to anyway. Oh. He gave me a hard stare before nodding, looking back to Haas. Anyway. Granted, with how often our hands touched, I assumed that maybe it was a date right up until he'd told me it wasn't one. Another one was one of those infamous non-dates that was... Yeah, whatever. Okay. I knew it was wrong. I knew that there was danger in the forest, given the first time Dean had taken me out here. I could get lost and ended up like Roswell. Okay. Eventually I hit the river that Dean had taken me to. Whether I was walking for a better part of an hour or longer to get there, I couldn't say. But the sound of the water was enough of a guide for... The only person I knew to be out here was Roswell. Well, Roswell and whatever the white thing I saw was. I picked up both into my pocket, yeah. Oh, fun times with our friend, Jack. Unironically, one of my favorite characters. That smile he wore felt off somehow. So much so that when I smiled back, I felt that I'd done something wrong.
Well then, Dave. You had a bit of a fall inside the mill, so I brought you out here.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Something wasn't right. Stranger danger was a thing that I'd been taught as a kid, and I didn't. I think that I was. This was a line from the other. They'd be either. Oh yeah, the types of, yeah. But if they were if there was some other third thing, I wouldn't know, and didn't want to make any situation worse. Huh. Oh man, that flash, that dream is cool. I like that scene. Wow, a lot of this is the same, isn't it? I looked to Dean, and he was staring, shaking and scared. His eyes were locked on me, and I knew why, given what I asked him almost a week ago. You didn't. Oh, when we said that we used the password, right? Oh, okay. I was curious. I was actually curious if the scene was gonna be in all the routes. Oh my god, I love this scene. You know, it's Tyson, and he's being cute with you and David, and man, the scene. Oh my god, that scene's like the worst, right? Right? I'm sorry. I'm a bad person. Yeah, no, this line. I'm a Tyson fan for life. That's that's how that is. Like, how can the other characters in this game even compare? Like, I love this stupid wolf. Oh, okay. But hopefully there'd be someone else. All things considered, I didn't expect that he would be the first person I'd think of immediately, as much as it made sense in retrospect. I could hear him humming happily to himself, and he seemed to just fade into existence by the stove. Morning, honeybee. It was corny, but I liked it. Something about how most of Dean's mannerisms just seemed to line up with the stereotypical normal romance, and it was something I found comforting. With my mom working most of the time as a trauma surgeon, yeah. Trauma center? Bruh. Next time. And Dad, who was out and about at odd hours keeping the world safe. Dean just seemed consistent. Hey, Dean. It seemed he was doing something at the stove. Maybe breakfast. Sleep all right, handsome? I'm still sleeping, aren't I? You tell me. Well, why are you making breakfast? Who are you making breakfast for? You're hungry, aren't you? Been a while since we've had a decent meal, as far as I can tell. I had leftovers. Maybe you're still hungry. Not as if you told anyone that you've eaten, either. I guess that's fair. I nodded slowly, thinking things over. What's the matter, sweetheart? And Dream Dean, what exactly are we? Don't really know. Friends for sure, right? Right. At least I think so, but, like, is it more than that? Aside from if we're dating or not? Like, how much do we really care for one another? Dean scratched his chin and seemed confused. No wonder, given I was the one confused by all of this in the first place. I guess we'll just need to talk about it again, huh? He approached. He approached me carefully so that his face was right up near mine, a voice lowered to an intimate whisper. I think I'd like that. Everything faded. Yeah, okay. You know, I think one of the things that has me, like, real set on that Tyson path is, like, it's an inherently more romantic relationship. Well, it's more about like the bond between them. It's not like this like sexual desire thing, because I don't feel it. So when characters are like too horny, or like they seem to care about that a lot, I find that really alienating to me, which is weird. Why I was like looking back at those first few parts of me going like, oh, maybe I'll like Dean, was kind of like, no, you're not. But but there's also a part of me that like kind of wishes I liked that kind of thing. So like I do gravitate towards that sometimes. I'm like, oh, maybe, right? Maybe it'll make me feel something, and then it doesn't. So as always. But I guess like that way of Tyson's relationship where it's more romantic, or just about like the general bond that Tyson and Dean have, like that's really cute in and of itself. And he's kind of handsome, right? Like Tyson, he's a good boy. I like him a lot. Slowly, I turned to Dean, who so far had barely said a word. His eyes were forced on his coffee, and he seemed tired, maybe sad. It was hard to tell. Dave, throw us a bone here, would you? A bone, huh? Oh, for fuck's sakes, Haas. Haas continued to razz Tyson, distracting him from asking me further on the matter, but Sal seemed to notice where my attention was and cleared his throat. Dean. Huh? What's going on? What's wrong? Dave wants to talk to you. I do? He does? With a sigh, Sal shook his head. His attention went immediately trying to corral Tyson and Haas before they started doing something, but my attention was still on Dean. You were being quiet. I was, well, sorry. Just waking up, I suppose. I heard something about a movie night, though. Don't know what's happening with that, but, I searched his face for a clue, to, how he was, feeling, but couldn't find anything. Plus, anything I wanted to ask about, I didn't want to bring up in front of the others, so I dropped it. I guess I'm free later today. I wouldn't mind hanging out. Oh, sure. I guess I'll come find you later if nothing's going on. I finished. Words come to me. He flashes me a quick smile before focusing back on his coffee and drinking deep. I watched him for a little bit longer, but he seemed out of it. Maybe he was just waiting for some French toast like I was. Doing okay? His voice was quiet, almost in a comforting whisper, as he stayed back closer to the rails of the stairs when I turned to look at him. He was still wearing the same look as he had at breakfast. I just keep thinking about what happened if I go outside. Did you want to go outside? I rubbed my arm as I wandered closer to him, shaking my head. I don't think so. Well, that's fine, right? What if you wanted to go outside? If we're being honest, I'm having second thoughts about leaving the house too. As much as I'd like to spend some time in the greenhouse, it's just not worth the risk right now. Right. So what are you going to be doing instead? Considering going back to bed. Maybe just lounge around, read a book, maybe go downstairs to the gym. You'd work out? What? You don't think I just lounge around for all day every day, do you? No. But I just assumed that, like, you were kind of like me. Try having Sal as a best friend, and see how often you get pressured into going to the gym. Try Haas as a friend, and how often you're told to eat healthier. I can imagine. And Dean's chuckling was contagious, and I found myself doing the same, but without much gusto. So, I don't know if you'd be interested, but would you perhaps like to do whatever together? No, whatever, huh? Have a preference for either of them? If you're going to ask me to pick between going to the gym or lounging in the bed, that's not really a hard choice. So to the gym. I get another chuckle out of me, and he threw up an arm around my shoulders before we started to head upstairs. Although, while I'm happy to just lounge around, I don't know how entertaining I'm going to be. I'm kind of tired. Don't worry, I just want to be around you now. Well, in that case, by all means, grab something to relax with, and I'll meet you in my room. I go to the top of the stairs and split off, Dean giving me a little wave before disappearing into his room. As for me, I wandered around looking for a book or something I could do quietly. This would have been a perfect time to do some painting or paper crafts, but I settled for grabbing my vacation journal. I knocked quietly before entering Dean's room, the smell of the bear hitting me the moment I closed the door behind me. Not that it was a bad smell, just very earthy, and unlike the sweet honey I was used to. Dean? All ready to relax? He just walked out of the bathroom, wiping his hands on his shirt already balled up in his hands before it quickly made its way to the floor. I think so. What's wrong? Should I put my shirt on? I just figured that, all things considered, I could just, No, it's fine. I just wanted to strip down to my underwear. That'd be fine, too. If you wanted to strip down, too. Okay. Is that a request? Or are you just trying to make me feel better? Well, with my journal tucked under my arm, I wandered over so I was closer, sizing him up. I've seen you naked already. Careful, Dave. You're making me nervous. No, don't feel nervous. I like how you look. I put my journal down to the side table and sat on the bed, looking Dean over giddy. Maybe I just really like bears. Maybe I just really like you. You charmer. Before you know it, you'll have me at a loss for words. Is that bad? I've mostly just been trying to be more. My words fail me, and my smile fades from my face as I rocked gently back and forth on the spot. Dean notices and made his way over to the bed quietly, lifting me by the chin to look him in the eye. You're doing fine, Dave. You don't have to be more or less of anything. You don't need to change for anyone but yourself. Really? Of course. Come from the mouth of someone who could literally transform if he wanted to. Just never did because he liked himself the way he did. Huh? But that sounds kinda bad. Like, what if you're a bad person? Are you saying you're a bad person, Dave? I think bad people wouldn't be the target audience for that piece of advice anyway. Listen, Dave, take pride in you, love who you are, and then those that deserve that will just be around, right? The dream from last night flashes across my mind, making me gulp. The prospect of loving someone or being in love still frightens me a little. It seems like something so easy to mess up. Are you sure you're doing all right? I'm not stressing you out, am I? It's not like that. I'm just wondering things. Things you could talk about, hopefully. He sat down next to me, taking my hand in his and giving me a gentle squeeze. You're not going to get mad if we do, right? Why would I be mad, Dave? I don't know. I just feel like I messed up the picnic we had. I feel like I've been bad at that. Bad at just us, you know? You didn't mess up the picnic. If anything, you took the leap that I was too afraid of taking by asking me if we were properly dating or not. And are we? I don't know. Is that a good question to be asking after yesterday? I don't know. I'm still just figuring where things sit now that everything's just... I started to gesture with my hand, trying to find the words to describe the frustration and confusion I was feeling. But once I felt Dean's hand to my face, he shifted my attention back to him. I like how your eyes light up the way you do when you're excited. Or maybe not just when you're excited, but when your mind is going a mile a minute. You do? After yesterday, I've never seen them this bright. But I'm not going to force myself on you as much as I'd like to, and just lay you back on this bed and kiss you sweetly. Why don't you? I like it when you kiss me. I like it when you kiss me. I like it when we get to cuddle. Hell, before everything started happening, I was thinking that maybe we could do more, stuff. And I'd like to do that too. But you're vulnerable, and I want you to like me for me, properly. Not just because I'm convenient. You're not convenient. He smirks, raising his eyebrows before I realize what I'd said. I mean, you're not... Well, I mean you are, but... Dave, breathe. It's all right. How about we just cuddle and I can read my book? You can do your thing, and if stuff happens, then we'll take it from there. Okay. Sorry. He leans over and kisses me on the cheek before finding his book and sliding over the bed until he was sitting back against some pillows. I grabbed my journal and sat next to him, sighing out and resting my head against his shoulder. We spent a while like that, while Dean was reading a book on gardening from what I could tell. It looked like it was one of those from the museum. Stuff about mushrooms, I think. What are you reading? Just a book I found about plant life around the mountain, getting ideas on stuff I could grow in the greenhouse. He sighed out, setting the book down slightly as he stared off into space. Not that it's really an option now, though. I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen. Like I said, you have nothing to apologize for. It's not like you wanted this to happen, did you? Well, no, but vacation, right? Not quite the same as getting rained on when you plan to go to the beach, or a blizzard when you wanted to go to the snow. But that's the sort of thing in my book. But a vacation is meant to be fun. This was meant to be like one last nice thing before everyone just sort of left, right? But now, all we have is just this idea that we're all in danger because of what happened. Well, I guess that's fair. But if I'm being honest, the nicest part of this vacation so far is has been hanging out in the hot tub, and well, that's about it, really. Nothing else? I've enjoyed getting to spend some time with you, for sure, but most of that's been, I wouldn't say ruined, but it's close. Ruined how? Did I do something? Nah, you didn't do anything. Most of the others have been getting on my nerves. It's been stressing me out every now and then. And have they been doing... Well, maybe saying worse, maybe saying most was going a bit far, but I know Tyson and Orlando have been very, what's the word? Annoying? Eager, maybe? To know if us dating is going well. Trying to give me tips or advice on things you like, when honestly a lot of that kind of stuff I'd rather find out from you or while doing stuff together. Same as I'd much rather you learn about how I am being around me rather than hearing them from Sal. Speaking of, why do you like me, aside from just liking how I look? I started off thinking you're cute. You're cute, much like you'd be attracted to anyone, right? Right. But then it quickly became clear that you were just someone nice, someone that made me happy to be around, and that seemed to like me back with how quickly you took me up on hanging out. So you liked me because I was eager? Do you remember when we went to the mall to just look around one day? I remember us walking around and how you getting excited when we walked past the art store. I remember how you wanted to go into the soap store so you could smell things. Well, yeah, but that stuff, the stuff in there smells nice. Do you remember how excited you got while we were there? How you wanted to smell a bunch of different things, and I had to drag you away from buying a bunch of candles? It was that passion in things that I adored, to the point that I wanted to share the same sort of things that get me that excited with you as well. But that's just me being me, isn't it? Why does it need to be anything more than that? What about the sex stuff? What about it? I've only done that thing with you, but that's it. And that's it. But you've had all of this experience, and I haven't, so... Like the other day, I was thinking about wanting to do more mouth stuff. Trust me, I have been too. I just think it's better to wait for now. The flirting gets a rise out of you, and it's cute, but you're not in the right headspace to do anything, or at least I wouldn't feel right about asking. What if right now I gave you a blowjob? What? Were you listening to what I just said? Before Dad died, I like to think I was a normal sort of guy. I looked at porn. I was curious what it'd be like. You never thought to experiment with someone like Orlando or Tyson? Both of them seem like they'd have been keen. Tyson's not into me in that way, I don't think. Well, I'm fairly sure, given he sees me like a brother. And Orlando, I don't think I would be his type. We never talked about guys we liked. Well, I can't say much about that Orlando, aside from him being very invested in us working out. But Tyson, well, how he looks at you is very familiar. Because you have a brother? Because while I was trying to figure out if I liked my ex enough to say I loved him, he was sort of like a brother. It threw me for a loop to find out Tankas hibernate too, yeah. Tanukis hibernate too. They do? I didn't believe it at first either. Follow-up question, what's a tanuki? Like a dog, I think, or a fox. Never really thought about it, but I guess they're kind of like hyenas in that, they're their own thing. Huh, that sounds familiar somehow, but maybe I'm just imagining it. Huh, well, apparently they can shapeshift too, so maybe you can meet one in disguise. Maybe. I guess I need to meet one to be sure. Wait, no. More importantly, you think Tyson might like me that way? What? What? Suddenly not into me knowing he might like you too? That's not what I'm saying, just curious about it, I suppose. I chuckled nervously while Dean rambles in amusement. I could feel it vibrating through his chest, almost as if he was purring. Is that why, you like me too? Because I sleep a lot? Who doesn't love a lazy morning in bed, or a nice long nap? I hate naps, but, you know, that's me. Sure, if you wanted to stay in bed, I could be convinced to get up and make you some scrambled eggs if it gives you enough incentive. What kind of incentive? Oh, I'm sure you could think of something handsome. He shuffled down the bed, bringing his face near mine. His voice was kept low. The playful smile on his face, spreading to my face too. Just close to... Being close like this was nice. It felt sweet and a touch familiar to how Dean and I normally interact. Dean? Yes, Dave? Like, I know about, like, you can... I've been told that you can, like, only be friends with them. And I don't know, I feel like I almost want to do that with the Dean, you know? Like, tone things down as much as possible. Just because that's me, you know? Yeah, I'm gonna thank him. Thanks for talking things out for me, Dean. It's been a rough couple days. I'm just happy, things are... Well, I won't say looking up, but things are getting better slowly for you. They are? Sure. Don't you think so? You're right. I guess I'm just having the reminder. It's nice having the reminder. So often it's been a case of stuff being left up to me to either talk if I want, or choose to do a thing or something it'd be nice to just have someone else decide for a change. I might be getting the wrong impression. I might be getting the wrong impression, but it sounds like you'd want me to take charge more. Maybe a little, like deciding this. This was good. Talking things out. That was good too. It might not be sex, but I guess I can wait for that a little longer. Dean reaches and touches my cheek tenderly, chuckling to himself. Might not be the mouth stuff you had in mind, but how do you feel about a kiss? I think I'd like that. I melt against him as he presses his muzzle to mine. It felt nice to be loved like this, or at least that's what I was describing it as. When we broke away, I cuddled into the crock of his neck, and he sat his book aside to cradle me, and we shared a nap. Yeah, I think that's a good place to stop the part. So, yeah. Hope I see you around.